Hello, in this video, let's look at why we label the axis of the unit circle the way we do. And then we will use the unit circle to evaluate one trigonometric expression that has many items. We will do it two different ways. One is using the unit circle, the other one only using the calculator. So here it goes. Now, first of all, let's figure out why we label the axis the way we do. So here is an angle, and this is a unit circle, meaning radius is 1. So any unit circle will have radius 1. So here is angle, let's call it angle A. And here are the sides of the triangle. So here is the vertical side, and here is the horizontal side. This vertical side is exactly the same as this side, and we can call it the y side. And this horizontal side is the same as the x side. Now, using our knowledge of what sine and cosine is, we can say that the sine of the angle A is the opposite, which is y, divided by hypotenuse, which is 1, which means the sine of any angle is the y-axis, which is why we label the vertical axis as the sine. And if we look at the x, then the x is the adjacent side to the angle A, and the adjacent over hypotenuse is called cosine. So cosine of the angle A is x over 1, which is the same as to say cosine of any angle is the x-axis, and that is why we label the horizontal as the cosine. Now let's use this information to evaluate an expression. So here is the expression. It has radians, it has degrees, and below are 3 different circles for each one of the angles. Now we also need to know what is cosecant and tangent in terms of sine and cosine, otherwise these circles won't help us because there is no cosecant or the tangent on these circles. But we do remember that cosecant is the same as 1 divided by sine. We also remember that to convert between the degrees and radians, all we need to remember is that pi is 180 degrees. And if we take 180 divided by 3, we are going to get 60 degrees. So this question says 2 times 1 over sine of 60 degrees times sine of 30 degrees divided by tangent. Tangent is sine over cosine of 45 degrees, each 45 degrees. So now we need the values for each one of those. So the first circle is for the 60 degrees. Here's 60 degrees. It's a little bit more than 45. We're interested in the sine, so we will use the vertical side to guess how close it is to 1. Is it closer to 1? Is it closer to half? These are the only 2 choices because our angle is multiple of 60. And for the 60, this length is a lot closer to 1 than it is to half. And so our answer is, for the 1, is square root of 3 over 2. So we have 2 times 1 over square root of 3 divided by 2. Now the sine of 30, so here is the 30 degrees. We're looking for the sine, so once again we go to the same exact axis and ask ourselves, is this now closer to half or closer to 1? Well, that's way closer to half, so that's half. Now we do the bottom. That one has 45 degrees, which is straight in the middle. For the sine, we go to the sine axis, but the only number to remember is square root of 2 over 2, because for the multiples of 45, that's the only value that we have. So that's a sine, it's a square root of 2 over 2, divided by cosine. Well, cosine also happens to be positive square root of 2 over 2. Of course, if we divide the same item by exactly the same item, they will cancel off and just give us 1. Now here we're also multiplying by 2 and dividing by 2. They also cancel off. What's left is 1 divided by square root of 3 over 2, and 1 divided by anything is the reciprocal of it, which is 2 divided by square root of 3. That's the exact answer. If we wanted to rationalize the denominator, we can multiply top and bottom by extra square root of 3, and that would make 2 times square root of 3, and on the bottom we will get square root of 9, which is 3. So this is the answer to our expression in exact form. Now let's type it in the calculator and see if we get the same decimal. So here is the actual question. Let's move it a little to the side so we can fit everything in, and then we use the calculator. So here's the calculator. It will be set once again in degree mode, and we type in all of this just using the angles. So we have 2 times cosecant, which means divide by, well, let's just do this. 2 times 1 over sine of 60 times sine of 30 degrees divide by tangent of 45. So the decimal is 1.154. Now let's see what our decimal says. 2 divided by square root of 3. Is it the same? Yes, it is, which confirms that we have found the correct exact solution. Now we could also do the same example without looking at the unit circle, only using the calculator and remembering that what the decimals are. So we remember that when we get 0.866, that makes square root of 3 over 2. If we get 0.707, that makes square root of 2 over 2. And if we get 0.5, well, that makes half. So knowing these, we can use just a calculator to do the same. So we have 2 times cosecant, which is 1 over sine of 60, times sine 30, divide tangent 45. So we type in sine 60. So here is sine 60, sine 60, and for it we get 0.866, and we know that this is the same as square root of 3 over 2. So we replace this with square root of 3 over 2. Then sine of 30, sine 30 happens to be 0.5, and we replace sine of 30 with half. And then the tangent 45 is going to be equal to 1. So we divide it by 1, which means we don't need the denominator. And that makes exactly the same as what we had using unit circle. These are exactly the same numbers. 2 divided by square root of 3 over 2 times a half divided by 1. And of course that would lead to exactly the same answer as what we have. So we can use the calculator to guess what the correct answer is in exact form, even though we haven't actually used the exact form anywhere else. And that's it for this video. If you have any questions on anything, please let me know. Thanks for your time. Take care.